The Austrian Grand Prix was a real nail in the coffin moment for Red Bull this season. At the home circuit, the ever-reliable Verstappen was a second off pole position in qualifying, whilst Tsunoda went out in Q1. There have been some incredible comebacks pulled off by Max, but he never had the chance at the Red Bull ring. He retired on lap 1, and with that, ended his title challenge for this season. It has been a disastrous year for a team that dominated the sport in unprecedented fashion just 2 years ago, and there are more problems to come. Verstappen has lost faith in his team. They don't look like an outfit ready to dominate in the new regulations, and he's seen a better chance elsewhere. Max is ready to move. The conversations are real, and the consequences could be far larger than you think. Today, I'll check it all out, so don't go anywhere. The Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko described Max Verstappen's elimination from the Austrian Grand Prix as a black day, admitting the world champion's title ambitions were all but over. The remarks were echoed by the team principal Christian Horner, who conceded the title fight was now a two-horse race. McLaren's Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri achieved a dominant 1-2, but Verstappen played no part in proceedings after he was struck by the Mercedes of Kimi Antonelli at turn 3 on the opening lap, knocking both cars out of the race. It leaves Verstappen 61 points adrift of Piastri in the championship, a lead that appears all but impossible to bridge given the pace advantage the McLaren enjoys over the rest of the field. This is a black day, Marko said. The gap is almost impossible to make up. If nothing special happens, we have to assume that the championship is over. The McLarens? Incredible. This pace in this heat? A half-second advantage per lap on this track. That's alarming, especially in these high temperatures. That's a fact. This was a demonstration. We're not really sure how we're going to catch up. There are still 13 races left in the season, but with new regulations coming next year, Red Bull have to divert their funds to their new car rather than try to take a colossal gamble on a big upgrade package. It isn't even a raw pace problem which is holding them back. The RB21 is simply undrivable. Verstappen may be able to extract some performance from it, but Yuki Tsunoda, Liam Lawson, and Sergio Perez have all shown that whatever development direction Red Bull have been following in the past season or so has been the wrong one. Seeing Liam Lawson, a driver who looked completely out of his depth during his 2 weekends with Red Bull, out-qualify Verstappen must have been the wake-up call that Horner needed. It isn't the drivers that are the problem, it is the car his team have built that has caused this appalling collapse in performance. Sergio Perez said in a podcast this week that Red Bull's decline dated directly from Adrian Newey's departure. Horner has constantly tried to downplay the impact of Adrian on his team's success, but the impact has become clear over the past year. Without him, the Red Bull design team have compiled mistake upon mistake and ended up turning the most dominant car in F1 history into one that is only elevated out of the midfield because Max Verstappen is driving it. Take him out of the team, and Red Bull would be lucky to be above the bottom step of the Constructors' Championship. Newey's decision to leave the team was a direct consequence of Christian Horner's actions. He had felt that Newey got too much credit for the team's success and tried to belittle his contributions in the media. Then the Horner Tech scandal broke and Adrian decided that was too much. Along with Adrian's exit was that of Red Bull's sporting director Jonathan Wheatley. He went to Sauber to become team principal of the soon-to-be Audi project, and on the evidence of the Austrian Grand Prix is having a positive effect on the team. Another very highly rated exit from Red Bull at a time when the team was being rocked by scandal. Horner's senior management team has fallen apart, and the consequences are now visible on track. As performance has declined and Verstappen's trust in the team and Horner has faded, transfer rumors have surrounded him since the Horner texting scandal, and they're now reaching a culmination. Late on Tuesday evening, Sky Sports F1 Italy published an anonymous tweet which read, "Breaking news Formula 1. Mercedes, concrete negotiations with Max Verstappen. Dutchman ready to free himself for next season." It has been no secret that Mercedes boss Toto Wolff has been courting Verstappen, but this is the first big sign that the Dutchman is keen to leave Red Bull Racing and abandon Horner to the whims of the board of directors at Red Bull. A final confirmation on Verstappen's future is likely closer than you might think. Toto Wolff insists he wants the Mercedes driver lineup for 2026 sorted by the time the Formula 1 season resumes following the summer break. That means at some point next month, we should know the Mercedes lineup for next season. While the talk linking Mercedes and Verstappen has seemed relatively unsubstantiated so far, Red Bull's awful form this season and the uncertainty over how their new engine will perform and how they'll handle the new aero regulations has Verstappen worried. If you asked any driver on the grid where they would want to be for a new set of regulations that featured a brand new engine, they would all say Mercedes, and it might be an opportunity that Verstappen can't say no to. If, or perhaps now when, Max's move is confirmed, George Russell will be in search of a seat. His relationship with Verstappen is bad at best, and Mercedes see Antonelli as their future. Martin Brundle said in Austria that Russell must be getting worried about what's going to happen to him next season. "I think George Russell is nervous and ringing around a little bit," he told Sky F1. "There's no smoke without fire. 2026 is massive, biggest change ever in F1 for the chassis and power unit, and you guess Mercedes will be there or thereabouts. Would you put Red Bull there? And can Max actually get out of his contract? Something's up." For Verstappen, this move could be perfect. Mercedes are favourites to find an early advantage in the new regulations, but for Horner, it couldn't be worse. But before I talk about how Red Bull could be readying for a post-Horner world, if you're enjoying the video and want to catch more news and analysis from this weekend's British Grand Prix, then make sure to press the like button and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. I said earlier in the video that the Austrian Grand Prix felt like a momentous occasion for Red Bull and Verstappen. The Dutch army that fills the skies with smoke and the stands with a wall of orange and noise were quieted for the first time in a long time last weekend. Arriving at the Red Bull ring, Verstappen's fanatical supporters normally have a confidence that their driver would be on the podium, but this year that same positivity was missing. The anxiety was there before the race even started, and seeing Antonelli remove Verstappen on lap 1 must have almost been a relief instead of having to watch 70 painful laps of McLaren dominance and Red Bull inadequacy. The brain drain, meaning a loss of technical genius from Red Bull's Milton Keynes factory, has been crippling. It began in 2022 with Dan Fallows, the head of aerodynamics, who left for Aston Martin. In 2023, chief designer Rob Marshall joined McLaren, and whether or not you believe that he's been a part of that team's rise to dominance, the timeline broadly aligns. Sporting director Jonathan Wheatley, now team principal at Sauber, was another key figure to head for the exit, and perhaps most significant of all, Adrian Newey, the brilliant technical mastermind without whom Red Bull's F1 triumphs would never have been possible, despite the tall tales that Horner has been trying to spin. While Horner might be trying to downplay Newey's impact on the team, it is impossible to ignore how much of Red Bull's recent performance had happened because of Verstappen. This season alone, he is responsible for 155 of the team's 162 points. Without him, Red Bull wouldn't have just been conceding championship contention in Austria, they wouldn't have even made the TV coverage. Behind the scenes, at the board based in Austria, the decline of the team under Horner's direction in the past 2 years won't have gone unnoticed. It was the late Dietrich Mateschitz and Helmut Marko who once gave Horner, then a relative nobody, the chance of a lifetime. He has created magic with Red Bull, but that fire is now fading. Mateschitz may have had endless faith in Horner, and Horner did repay it, but he isn't there to give that faith anymore. The exits of some of the sport's greatest minds from Red Bull will not have gone unnoticed, nor will the lack of replacements that have been hired. If those incredible technical talents were to be followed by the best driver in the sport at the moment, how could the Red Bull board maintain faith in Horner? If the engine project that Christian wanted so desperately isn't up to scratch, how can he avoid the blame? And if Red Bull aren't competitive in 2006, how can Horner remain at Red Bull Racing? He may have turned just an energy drink company into an F1 powerhouse, but if he's to be credited with their rise, he has to be credited for their decline as well. Verstappen is covering the cracks of this shattered F1 team, and Horner is the one that dropped it. Do you think that he can survive the fallout of Verstappen leaving? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you want to support the channel, then make sure to check out our merch store at f1reverse.com to get yourself some sweet F1 inspired gear. Until next time, drive safe and bye for now.